Oh, good morning. Well, you can see a little new passenger here. That's our foster puppy. Say hi, Tazzy. She loves car rides, so I'm going to go get some coffee. This is a quick update vlog, I guess. It's actually been quite a while since I've made any videos for this channel. But I've been busy with another channel, and for good reason. We're gonna go out, grab some coffee, and we'll explain why. So back in about April of this year, so it's still 2022. As you know, like I've been doing coaching for some Special Olympics, and one of the athletes that I coach hockey for, he has a podcast and it's called Guardians and Gladiators, and he's been running it for about, well, since last year, since about October. And the previous co-host just couldn't commit time-wise to it, so he had posted that he needed some help with the show, so I graciously offered. And so that's what I've been busy with over the past little while, is working on this show with him. So it's about a once-a-week show. We've upgraded it to a sort of like a 3-camera system, or 3-camera setup, kind of like well, like a lot of podcasts now. So you have like your main camera that shows everybody, and then cameras that do the sort of the individual sides for the guests and the hosts and us, I guess. So yeah, that's taken up quite a bit of my time, because each show is about an hour, and then I have to go through and edit the show, which takes quite a bit of time. Well, it takes a couple hours, and then the export just takes forever, but that's just because I have a really crappy computer. But it's been fun, and today we're actually going to do a mobile version, because right now we have sort of like a quasi-semi studio in my house, in my basement, but I'm actually working towards getting a more dedicated version of it, and we'll do a look over of that at some point as well, maybe even in this video, I'm not sure. But today we're gonna do a mobile version. So I'll go over the equipment that I'm gonna use. I was kind of going back and forth with what I wanted to use is for, mics and stuff like that. But I don't know, we'll see. And then we'll see how it goes. Maybe show some behind the scenes. And yeah, so right now, just grab a coffee, and we'll see you in a little bit. So I know I did kind of mention that part of the reason why I've been away on this channel for a bit is I was working on a new, well, it's not really a new podcast, but it's a podcast that I've been recording pretty much once a week since kind of the beginning of the year, almost about April. It has taken up a fairly large chunk of my time in being able to film, YouTube videos for this particular channel. So I figured, since I already said why I'm doing it, what I've kind of been up to. Now, the setup that I have right now is just our remote interview setup. It's so that me and the other host can talk to our guests pretty much anywhere. Now, we use Riverside platform of choice. It's like Zoom, but actually it's really good for podcasts now that it finally works. So I'll give you a quick little view here. This is the setup. Kind of excuse the wire mess and the dustiness here. But essentially, this is what we're working with here. Now, typically, we use this as a 4-person setup for our guests, so we can have up to 4 people. There's me, and I've got mic stands for pretty much everybody. So we can have 4 people around the table. So it's a pretty good setup. But basically, I've got the Rode Procaster Pro version 1. We've got 4 mic stands, all equipped with the Rode Pod mics, and then each guest and the users, we have Sennheiser HD 280 Pros. So everybody gets their own set of headphones, and then I have my normal Sony a6100 that goes to the computer, to HDMI video capture, and that goes right into the Riverside. Lighting, I have this Godox panel. It's the Godox LED 260C Pro. It's just a bicolor LED panel. And then as a key light, it's normally on the tripod that I'm using here, the Manfrotto Tripod Pixie, but it's just a Aputure MC20, I think. It's the RGB Aputure light. It's great. And that's sort of the hair light. And that's the key, I guess the key light, the primary light. And I just turn all the lights off, and it's a great view. Actually, it works really, really well. So that is the normal, or I guess, sorry, that's the remote setup. And then normally what I'll have for the in-person guests, I'll typically use the A6100. I'll put it there so it kind of gives us this view here. So that would be the main camera. And then I would have a camera here for me and my co-host, and then I'd have another camera here for our guests, and I would have a multicam podcast setup. So if you want to take a look, it'd be cool. I mean, it's just the podcast is called Guardians and Gladiators, and it's basically a podcast dedicated to Special Olympics. So it's probably one of its kind. I really haven't seen any other podcasts like it. If you do get a chance, check it out. Really appreciate it. It's on YouTube, Guardians and Gladiators podcast. We have some cool guests. We've had former NHL player, Cam Jansen. We've had one of our local Ontario Hockey League, so like kind of the level below NHL, one of the radio announcers for our local team here. He came into the studio. Lots of Special Olympic athletes, coaches, volunteers, and just recently we had our latest episode. We had a Canadian senator from the federal Senate, so that was pretty cool. He was a great guest. Lots of stories, and yeah, it was a good time. So that's kind of the setup that I have right now. I am eventually going to be moving it out to my garage, so that'll probably be a video that I'll do, just kind of doing the setup and the transition to the new studio. So it's out of my basement rather than yeah, so it's out of my basement. My wife will appreciate that. That's what I've been up to. I don't think I'm really gonna do anything else with this vlog, because I said I was gonna do a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't. This was my setup, and then I don't know what we're gonna do after this, but I'll figure something out. Oh, I'm gonna do something. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna do. We're gonna do some interesting stuff, kind of regarding a tutorial, sort of regarding the podcast setup and what I do with the multi-camera thing. So it'll be in the works. I always just have to remember to get some behind the scene footage for it. A lot of that is just me being out of it. But anyways, hope you enjoyed. We'll see you later.